Hi guys, so Pakistan just won the fourth T20 against South Africa and therefore won the series 3-1, and we won the ODI series as well before that. So it's a pretty big achievement. You know, people are talking about B teams and C teams, but you can only play what's in front of you. So winning two series like that in South Africa against South Africa is a big deal. So congrats to all Pakistani fans. Now, one thing I want to keep in mind is that when I look at T20 cricket, I always look towards the T20 World Cup because for me that is the highest level of the format. T20 bilaterals aren't always the biggest deal. For me, the whole point of a bilateral T20 series is to build up to the World Cup. So that's how I look at it. Now, looking at this from that context, I just want to talk about the positives real quick. I think the top three are all but settled for me. Rizwan went not out in two of the games. He played really well. He's been doing really well for a few series now in T20's opening. Babar, we all know he can do really well. He played an amazing innings. He's probably our best all-round batsman. In fact, there's no doubt. But my biggest positive from this series, ODIs and T20s, has been Fakhr. So Fakhr had been inconsistent for a few years, but he's shown this consistency along with this devastation that we know that he possesses in all formats. So to bring those two together, I hope he can continue this, and I hope he can keep increasing this consistency actually, because that can make him quite a deadly batsman. And the biggest thing is that in the World Cup in India, spinners are going to be a big deal. There's going to be a lot of, maybe even half the overs that we play against are going to be bowled by spinners. And Fakhr is quite easily, I feel, the best hitter of spin in our team. He's also really good through the offside, cutting the spinners. He has a good defensive game against spinners. So Fakhr at 3, I think, is really good because he comes in at that time where the ball isn't fully new. Not that that really matters in T20s, and spinners might be operating like we saw today. He really took at Shamsi, who was bowling quite well. So I feel like these are some of the positives. Fahim's been bowling well on this tour. That's another positive. He's brought us back in the game consistently. He's been bowling with his brain, like he said in the post-match interview. He's been reading the batsman, following the batsman very closely right up until the point he bowls the delivery. He's been looking at the batsman, and you can see by the way he bowls, right? He seems to be following the batsman, so he's been hard to hit. He's been bowling better than our main pacers, which is good, but it's kind of worrying because our main pacers unfortunately haven't been up to the mark in this whole series. Besides Shaheen's always good though. The beautiful thing about Shaheen, I feel, is that he's only going to get better. So that's very exciting for Pakistani fans. Now, Nawaz, I think, look, Nawaz's figures might not be the best, but that's another positive for me. I think he's bowled well throughout the ODIs and the T20s because he's been managing to pick up wickets. And if you look at his bowling, not just his numbers, these are flat tracks. It's easy to get hit here, but he's been coming back consistently. He's been showing a lot of control with the ball. So I think he's done well as a bowler, at least through this whole series. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I like to look at things in the context of the future in terms of potential. So it may seem that I'm a little too critical most of the time, but I feel like the whole point is to look at things from a critical lens and to look at things in context, because there is no denying that this is a weak bowling lineup that we're playing against and not the best batting lineup. There's no denying that. And the whole point of this series in my eyes is to gauge this squad and to ready this squad for the World Cup. That's at the end of the year. It's in a few months. It's right around the corner. Like, you'll blink and it'll be right there. That's how it goes. And Pakistan hasn't reached the knockout stage of a T20 World Cup in 9 years. And our team used to be consistently the best T20 team in the early days up until 2012, 2013. And we haven't done that in 9 years. We've been abysmal in T20 World Cups. Like, we've been winning a lot of bilaterals in the time, but by the time the World Cup comes and we play against the big dogs, we just lose. We perform absolutely terribly. And I'm just, out of my love for Pakistan cricket, I don't want that to happen again. That's why I look at things from a critical lens. And I saw a lot of, despite the win, I'm personally not satisfied. You may call it negativity, you may call it whatever, but like let's just look at all the gaps that we have. I said in my first video that we have no middle order, and that showed. What should have been an easy breeze, walk in the park win, it came down to a nail biter that we would have lost had Magala not bowled 2 no balls in his penultimate over. That was a lost game, I feel. Anything can happen, yeah, but the only reason I feel we won is because of that no balls, and it shouldn't have come to that point. Our middle order should be capable of finishing games without giving us heart attacks. And I feel like that's required of any middle order, but we don't have a middle order. Starting at number 5, it's basically our tail. You saw the Nawaz and Fahim partnership where they should have breezed. They kept missing balls. Haider Ali, biggest supporter, like I mentioned in every video now, but he's just been extremely irresponsible. I don't know, does he need to go back to domestic cricket? Let me know your guys' thoughts, but he needs to work on something, because that's not how you play. Despite you can have a lot of talent, but there's a difference between playing your natural game and playing. You can still play your natural game and play according to the situation. Playing your natural game doesn't mean you get out to square leg every game just because you are being aggressive. So Haider really needs to work on that. But there are a lot of questions, like I keep saying, in terms of the middle order, like the commentators kept saying. We need to do something about it. We need to plug those gaps. We have a few months. PSL's coming around. Maybe someone does well in the PSL. I feel like I like Imad a lot. I think he's a smart batsman. He's a capable batsman in the middle order. I think he can finish games. He has a good head on his shoulders. Maybe it's time to bring him back. And maybe it's time to drop some of these batsmen like Asif Ali. I don't think he's done anything in international cricket. I think it should be over for him now. And in terms of the bowling, the thing is, we need to it's a lot of people are criticizing the bowling, but we need to get used to the fact that T20s are going to be 200 is going to be the norm in T20s now. And they're basically batting shootouts. You have one team that bowls, gets 200 scored against them. The other team just has to bat better. It's basically batting shootouts. The bowling is about who can restrict the other team a little more. That's what it comes down to now. And so criticizing the bowling is whatever, but the real question marks are on the batting lineup. Because the team that wins the T20 World Cup is going to be the team that can chase down big scores, that can chase down 220s, 230s. And the team whose bowling lineup can restrict the other team by 10 or 20 runs, who can restrict the other team to 180 or even 200 in some cases. Those are the teams that are going to be contenders for the World Cup. The teams with the really awesome, powerful middle orders who can capitalize on the platform set by the top order batsmen. So, once again, though, congrats on the series win, but loads of question marks. We have the Zimbabwe series coming up, and then we have the PSL coming up, and then finally we have the England series. If I'm not mistaken, that's it. And then the England tour of Pakistan, and then we have the T20 World Cup. So there is room for improvement. There is time to improve. There are games, but it needs to be fast, because we've been saying this for a few years now, and now it's right around the corner. So the onus is on the PCB, the onus is on the management, the onus is on the captain to settle that number 4 to 7. Hassan Ali, I mentioned earlier, he should be batting at 9, not 8. But if we can settle the 4 to 7, then Hassan Ali can bat at 8. He can be useful at 8. I'm fine with that. But that 4 to 7 is really, really important. Not even 4, 5 to 7. Hafiz didn't have the best series, but he's been doing well recently, so he's good at 4. But that 5, 6, 7 is really crucial, and it's the difference between deciding whether we're contenders for the World Cup or if we're not, whether we're going to make it to the knockouts or we're not, like the last 9 years, like I mentioned, in which we haven't been making it to the knockouts. So yeah, guys, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy.